Is it true that some women are addicted to pain? I have discussed some of this in my video about why it is hard for women to leave abusive relationships. But there is a very deep reason as to why many women believe that their lot in life, their destiny, their qadr, is tied to living in pain. And they somehow deal or give themselves a martyrdom kind of glow or halo effect, that they are the sacrificial lambs for this person at the altar of marriage, which is something very virtuous. So they have to accept their lot in life, that it is never meant for them to experience joy or true happiness or actually find someone who loves them. Instead, it is their lot, or they were chosen in this life to be the butt end of abuse, the ass wipe or doormat of a narcissist, and this is where their Jannah lies. And they cannot be anything more toxic than this, because they are then attributing something very evil to Allah and saying that Allah wants them to suffer at the hands of a zalim oppressor like Fir'aun in order to enter Jannah. They don't have to suffer at the hands of and at the feet of this Fir'aun in order to enter Jannah. Allah did not declare anyone's life to be on death row at the hands of a zalim in order to enter Jannah. So this kind of patience or sabr that women are instructed to make when married to a tyrant of a husband is false and fake, and they should fear Allah, because this is not a healthy way to live or even to draw closer to Allah out of fear and out of punishment in this lifetime. And subjecting themselves to such torture that is haram. They are being complicit in their own abuse and not even being told to stand up for themselves, instead being told that this is a pathway to heaven. This is absolutely the same as being a suicide bomber, and this is haram. This is not allowed. Your children are watching. Fear Allah. Would you want the same thing for them? To resolve that their life for the rest of their lives are doomed to be at the hands of another human being who is psychotic, narcissistic, sociopathic, and wants to kill them or ruin them or destroy them mentally until they're just a husk of a woman? No. This is not a reason ever to stay in a relationship, and I cannot except hope and make dua that my videos have some dent of a difference in making women believe that they should deserve more and aspire for greater than what they have if they're being abused. Okay? This is very important that you are in a healthy relationship that fosters firmer tawakkul and faith in Allah, not the destruction of it, and not the false belief that Allah is wishing upon you to be abused or wanting you to suffer at the hands of this malicious man in order to gain his favor or enter Jannah. There is no such pathway to Jannah. This is a false fallacy and fairy tale romanticized to keep you married and bound and tied to a man who is terrible for you and keep you suffering for the rest of your life to keep family intact, when the family that actually matters is you and your kids. Now, this is a decision and a call that only the woman for herself can make. No one can coerce her or encourage her to be in a healthy relationship unless she so desires that for herself. But the hope and purpose of this video is to, pray that at least it gives her some insight into who Allah is and that He does not want this punishment for her. And if she were to have the tawakkul required, that she would understand that there is a better life out there for her and her children, where she will be treated well, or if she's meant to be alone, then that is better for her than being abused. But this takes this takes a kind of a courage and a faith that is unshakable, because you will need the will and the resolve to survive after leaving a marriage like this, that will call upon the old you to die and a new you to be reborn, reconstructed, and rebuilt. And this can only be done from the ashes of your previous relationship. Many women are not inclined to make this leap because it's too painful, which I completely understand. I do not shame any woman that stays, but I do wish well and better for her. Now, many narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths have stated what they've noticed about their victims is that their victims are addicted to pain. Now, this is mortifying information. The fact that they know that the women that they seek as victims actually like the pain or feel like they deserve the pain on some level because they are so self-loathing that they don't believe they deserve better treatment, or they don't believe they deserve, any better than to be abused or murdered, is extremely, extremely devastating. As a woman who's built her career on building up other women for over 10 years now, I find this a very, very, very bitter pill to swallow. That the criminals themselves know that these women think nothing of themselves and are okay with being treated like trash. In fact, they believe that they deserve no better, is heartbreaking. There's also a lot of feminine delusions that keep a woman entrapped and ensnared and bound to an abusive man. The first delusion is she believes she can change him. This is, of course, passed down hereditary from, our forefathers. Many grandmothers and mothers and old wives will tell you, you can change him. He doesn't have to stay this way. You're both young. He will grow up. He will change. And the woman always has to take the brunt of this relationship, believing in this fake, false promise of the future faking, that one day he will XYZ. You cannot change a man. A man will only change if that man wants to change. And very, very, very rarely will it ever be for the woman that is sticking with him. There's no incentive for him to change if you're standing by his side, my loves. He will only change if you threaten to leave him and are serious about it. The only reason he will change is because he's too afraid of losing you, if you're worth that much to him. Most of you are afraid of the fact that you're not worth that much to him, and you will leave him and he won't come after you and he won't change because he doesn't care about you. In that regard, you are just prolonging your pain and your suffering, and it's going to accumulate, and you're probably going to waste a very, very, very huge chunk of your lifespan on this absolute loser of a relationship or man. Okay? At the end of the day, it is you who is making the decision to stay. It is you who is taking a gamble on 20 of the best years of your life if you're younger. It is you who is willing to take that gamble on the children that you're going to have with this man when he's not even completely invested in you. Therefore, he will not be completely invested in his children, or he might not be. Are you willing to take that risk? This brings me to the second point. Many women believe that putting up with a man will endear us to him or make him love us. If you show a man that you are willing to put up with anything and stick through with him and stand by him through anything, he will put you through everything. So absolutely not. There is no way your patience, your sacrifice, and your time standing and supporting him and standing by his side is going to be rewarded by him loving you more. Nay, quite the contrary. He will devalue you more, think less of you, and increasingly despise you because you're not holding him to a higher account. You are not calling him to be the best version of himself. You are merely tolerating him at his crappiest level just to stick around and keep him in your life. And the reason many women do this, and this is a huge fault in us, is that we think of men as a status symbol. We think that without having a man in our life, we are nothing. We believe that in order to gain social credibility and respect, we need to have a husband or have the title of Mrs. That the only way we have some respect and dignity on this earth is if we are married. Thankfully, times are changing now, and it's no longer the flex it was to be married. In fact, nowadays, marriage has become such a trap that the most disrespected people on earth happen to be wives. They're the ones most cheated upon, the ones most lied to, the ones most disregarded, the ones most taken for granted. So before entering into a marriage contract, we need to be completely sure who we're getting into and what exactly we're going to be putting up with. Because we do not want to end up in a marriage that's not a flex to be married, except in name, to smile and show a smiling face to the rest of the world, while behind closed doors we're getting beaten up and we're crying every day. Just because we care too much about what people think. What people think will land you in a grave. The other thing that makes women stay in these relationships is thinking that you can work your way into his heart. You can cook your way into his heart, sleep your way into his heart, mummy your way into his heart, maid your way into his heart by cleaning, cooking, services. And because of all your dutifulness, he will love you eventually because of how comfortable you make his life. Men are not creatures of comfort. They love discomfort, they love unpredictability, and they love being on edge. So sadly, to do all of this for him is actually going to make him take you for granted more than actually appreciate you, because the girl that keeps him on his toes, keeps him guessing, gives him no certainty, is the one his mind will be consumed by. And I don't make the rules. But there is no way you should ever devalue yourself to the point where you work so hard to get into his heart, because that is not the way to a man's heart. Never was, never will be. Sadly, due to sexual assault or abuse in childhood, traumas, abuse, neglect of any kind, violence of any kind, gender-based violence, home abuse, watching your parents abusing each other, your father abusing your mother, etc. This puts in a child's heart, especially a girl, that she is unlovable, unworthy, and she will never find love. This makes her feel like she's undeserving of joy and happiness, and all she is worth and deserving of is pain and abuse. So she will naturally gravitate towards relationships that are harmful for her, that cause her destruction, that cause her pain, annihilation, and abuse, because that's what's familiar to her, and that's all she believes she deserves. Now, if a man finds that this is all this woman feels she deserves, that's exactly what he's going to give to her, and then some. So this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that there's only bad men out there, and that all she will ever get is pain, abuse, and harm. I found a website where narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths have given their testimonies on their victims, and this is what the summary of what they have to say is. We knew our conquests, the women, want to be devoured. They want to suffer and grieve. They desire distress, to succumb. They sought to be haunted. They sought to be hunted in order to appease a chaotic order of nature. So this was a very peculiar quote for me that I found, in how they know that a lot of the women who fall prey and fall victim to them are women who have deficit disorders in themselves, where they do not believe they are worthy of anything good or love or good treatment, so they gravitate towards these human predators. It is amazing how these predators can sniff this out like a wolf sniffs blood. He can smell the scent of devaluation, of weakness, of lack of self-esteem, of a lack of confidence, of an innate lack of self-worth. And this will make them want to hunt, pounce, and devour their prey more than anything else. They see it in your body language when you're walking. They see it in how you speak. They see it in what you're able and willing to tolerate and put up with. They see it in how you tell on yourself by exposing your past relationships. When you tell men how awful your ex treated you, that's logged in the hard drive of, well, I can up the ante on that. So be very careful, and I always coach women, do not ever tell them that your ex mistreated you. Do not ever tell them what you have been through, because all they will do is take that as a license, if they're a predator, to do it 10 times worse back to you. So always be discreet, and if anything, let them think that your relationships were wonderful and you were treated wonderfully before. At least that will help convert your mind and put you into a higher vibrational frequency to be on the level of what you are hoping to attract and hoping to be respected with. That's what you aspire to, even if you haven't gotten it in the past. Think about the future. Think about how you wish to feel and what you want to attract into your reality, and feel those feelings. And do not let on that you have been through X, Y, or Z. Okay, that's it for me on why women like pain. So we know where our pain points are, and we need to go in there and shower it with warm, honey-suckled, dewy love, and hopefully bring those demolished, desperate, decimated, and dead parts back to life again, so that no one will come in and piss in our garden, but rather they will water our flowers. Lots of love and light to you. Assalamu alaikum and goodbye.